Hey guys, so I just wanted to point out a interesting development. So there's this company called Nebula. Um, sorry, I mean Vsoft Inc. and they created NebulaGraph. And I first came across it because I saw. Let me check from my other screen. This cross. Um, I saw some tutorials and about graphs and graph theory and statistical background, and then I came across a Llama Index webinar, and so they introduced how, like, what is their basic motivation, and yeah, just talked a bit about how they want to design graphs to make it very easy to interact with it, and which architecture they want to use. And the point where I got really interested is the easy interaction via Cypher, like we also know it from Neo4j, but just how intuitive they made it here to grab a text document, and I will show it later, that it is really easy to just load, or actually let me show it immediately because I don't have a clear agenda, sorry for that, but I don't have a clear agenda for the video, it's just something I like to share. So this is here the setup. You need the, either the OpenAI key, of course, or you need a Azure instance. I used the OpenAI key, but I didn't display it here now because of obvious reasons, and I didn't want to delete my key again. And yeah, here's something we're gonna touch upon later. Just heads up for the setup. You need to use 0.0, like 4 times 0. But where I just wanted to hit upon, where it got really interesting for me, what like the different approach they took from Nebula. You just take basically a text document, any kind of document, and you can you have it in the raw format. Basically, it's just plot text of Guardians of the Galaxy, and you pass it to their indexing engine, and it gets basically the relations. It is this layer which basically does the cleaning in order for the graph to understand it. So it gets the edges, we would say, in the graph context between the nodes. And I have to check later if I get like also the weights basically between the nodes. That would be also interesting for me to see. But I will check upon that later and get back to you. And here we see then I connected to the server basically. In my case, the server is let me just show you. The server is Docker Compose, right? So I definitely wanted to try out Nebula, so I tried different approaches. This one worked for me best. And so yes, I connected to the Docker Compose basically, the microservices, the containers plural, and then you can easily retrieve via Cypher. We also know this from Neo4j. The query language, we can retrieve the entries. And then, and this is something I truly admire, they used WizJS library. WizJS is my favorite graph library. I used it for my earlier LinkedIn posts, and I used it for earlier developments for graph theory. And like the only thing what I would add here is that the user actually can add interactively the relations, that which of course makes it also not robust at all. Like it makes it very like open for noise and fuzziness and just like use interaction. But if you want it, if you want this as an incentive, like somebody reads company data and sees, oh, that's a wrong relation, we need to adjust it. So the Vis.js library has all the options to like redirect the node and the edges. Actually, I can. No, I didn't run it on my new iOS setup, so OS setup. Sorry. So I won't show it now, but I will show it in a later video. I will try to put all this together. What I'm saying, like make based on Nebula, make a interactive app basically, so that you can directly interact with the database. So that is the plan. Okay, so just my heads up for what you have to mind. So they have a let's say pretty comprehensive tutorial, but there's always a but. So NebulaGraph, I already mentioned what worked for me is to do it via Docker Compose. So I wouldn't recommend to download it like just the development version. Don't go for the Git repo here and download the original one. Go for the already set up with the Docker YAML and everything. Docker Compose YAML. Then you need the studio to interact with it. The studio is basically, let me show you, this here. And when we already here, they have a notebook, and I didn't find the notebook. I had to really type from the video. Here we have it. Give me a second, just have to drag it. I had to type it up from the video, but I will post it in the link later. So they have this notebook, and they explain here how they basically set up the space, but that didn't work for me. And also this way, when I tried to just uncomment this, right, and put it into Studio, didn't work as well, because you get the error that you can't use basically create statements like can I do here multi-select? Oh yeah, nice. Can you nice, sweet IDE interaction. So basically this is what I tried first. Let me. I don't know the shortcuts yet, but in BigQuery that would be Control Shift F, I think, to adjust the format. But yeah, so if you try that, you get here you can't switch between graphs, and they say that because this create statement, right? So basically you're not allowed to use like it's common in some data warehouses and databases, you're not allowed to use the create statement. Only like lower hierarchy interactions, but not basically the space create action. So yeah, just be mindful about that. You have to do it basically by foot. You have to do a new namespace, so create a new namespace, and actually then it will generate for you here how you want it. So it's pretty intuitive. You see it, the values are already here, and in the end you get basically exactly this, right? So that's working fine. Like I said, localhost didn't work for me, that didn't work for me, and also in the documentation, guys, heads up to you, Nebula, because you write here at some point, yeah, so this is pretty easy. You don't, if you want to just to play around with it, you don't need the license key. You can jump that. You can Docker compose up this thing. This also works fine. You can exit. You can go into the containers. Works fine. Okay. So this is also everything pretty intuitive. what was it? Give me a second. They wrote at some point that you need to use the in order basically to connect to NebulaGraph, so not to the studio but to Graph itself. So if we look out here, that you need to insert here your IP, right? And this is also wrong. If you want to do the flow local, you see I tried different options. You go with 0.0 and you can go with root and root. So that worked for me. And then you're in here. Okay, so that was just it. And because I claimed that I saw it in the documentation, I also should show that it is in the documentation, but let me just how to upgrade Docker. No. Connect to NebulaGraph. So this is the port, this is okay. But we want to have studio. Where's the studio explanation? What is NebulaGraph Studio? That looks right. Features, scenarios, authentication. Users log in with the root account and any password. Enables the specific C authentication. Yeah, I already have been there, right? And here enable sessions and local enable authentication, field login password. Now I don't find it here now, and I don't want to take too much of your time. But anyway, now you know how you actually can start playing around with it, because yeah, I had you. Yeah, I didn't find any reference, so that is actually just 0.0.0 log 4 times 0. That was the point. Okay, and is there anything else to point out? So the interaction is very smooth. I like the handling a lot, and that they use with JS, and that it's very easy just to read in any kind of document, basically. So great job, guys, and thanks a lot for providing this. And oh yeah, maybe one last point. What they point out in the video. So I would strongly recommend that you watch the video. And let me jump to. I should have here. I should have looked up the times earlier, but now you have to suffer that I just scroll around here. So maybe you read my last post. The memory layer is something which I basically which I think will be decisive in future, how well the memory layer is constructed for the knowledge graph interaction with the large language models. Because this really makes the difference between, is it a smooth interaction for the user, are the earlier dialogues easily embedded in the new conversation, and actually they jump in on this point, and I really like that. So they say that here the memory layer for long tasks could be served as memory layer with structure to model the world. Memory that's close to the human brain. Think of creating, completing a novel wired together with bricks. Okay, so at least they touch upon this point here, and I yeah, like I said, I think that's very decisive for if what the users are gonna choose in the future, and if the solution provides this layer in a sufficient quality. Okay, so that was it for today. I hope you got something from it, and sorry again that it is so unstructured, this video, but yeah. And maybe one last thing for the closing. Let me just jump in the notes. Yeah, so pulling up the studio, password root, yeah, that was alright, and the query language, yeah, okay, and that you have to create it. No, that was all covered now. And yeah, just what I learned, because I was really pissed on Windows once again, and changed now definitely to Ubuntu, like for sure. So this is just not a dual boot, this is a single boot. Where's my fish? Here's my fish. So yeah, if you're like me and you still need one Windows system just to work, if you have whatever, if you need one Windows system but you don't want to use your space, you want to have your dedicated laptop just for developing, like I have my Dell XPS. I wasn't aware, but it's very simple solution. There are retailer window keys and OEM, I guess it's called window keys. Windows keys, and those are very cheap. It's like $16 for a OEM window key. And so just what I did is take my old laptop. It's a Lenovo T450p if anybody still knows that, a ThinkPad, and just installed Windows on there and put everything I need on there. For like office, private office stuff, and yeah, and I got now my XPS fully set up for awesome development. So yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I thought it's always like 100 euros for Windows setup and whatever. So now I talked enough, and I wish you a good week. Bye bye.